All right, Aaron Hernandez. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. No,
Poor
the
Aaron.
people want the truth.
Aaron, first of all, he had a heart of gold. He was a customer of mine. He used to come in every Saturday night. He was always so respectful and tipped unbelievable. He always left like $300 tip. My waitresses loved him. One night, he knew who I was, and he said to me, "Hey," he said, you want some weed? I know you love your weed. He goes, "I got some weed for you." He goes, "I got 100 pounds. I looked at him and said, "Aaron, I just was trying to say you're in a position where I have no idea why you'd be dealing weed." You know what I mean?
Ask him?
Yeah, and he said, he just looked at me like, don't think I'm never going to deal weed again. Like, he just looked at me like, why would you think I don't deal weed? I'm like, well, you're a fucking superstar and gets paid millions of dollars. Why would you need to deal weed?
So football was his side hustle.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
I tried to give him the best advice I could.
Yeah.
It went in one ear and out the other.
I wonder when he signed his contract, he was just like, you know how much weed this can buy me?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How's everyone doing? Welcome to another episode of the Rhode Island Red Podcast. And of course, we've got my best man here. You know who he is. He's the pride of the fourth wall, Mr. Mark Kraus. Kraus, how we doing? Good to see you again.
Good to see you. We're back. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a little while, guys.
It's good to be back. So what's been going on, Sean? What's been going on in the world
of Sean? Oh, my God,
since
the last time we left you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we went back to Block Island.
Yeah.
We did our shows. It was a wonderful summer. The National Hotel in Julie, we did all our shows over there, which was great. It's our new home for the Block Island comedy. And, and then after Block Island, I came back to L.A. and started, and started grinding as usual. And it's been going great.
You hit the ground running. Sean.
I hit the ground running.
So in that time, you've managed to become a social media sensation.
Oh, is that what that is?
Sean T. Mahoney, social media sensation.
Oh, I'm glad.
Tell us a little bit about that, man. Like how's that been? You've been meeting people. You're getting out there. I feel like.
I guess, it's different. It's, I never took social media seriously. But then, I got a couple of reels that went, viral, as they say. And the best thing about, the social media getting some traction is, I'm starting to affect, everyone knows I'm in recovery and a lot of my bits are about drugs and stuff like that. But with that social media stuff, I've attracted a lot of people who are asking for help and also people that are in recovery. So I've kind of attached myself to the atom of the recovery network.
Yeah, no, I saw you, you came into town to do a show at the Ha Ha, and dude, that was a hell of an experience because that was you in your element. It was a show with a recovery audience. The whole audience were people in recovery at that moment.
Yeah.
And I watched 7 comics go up there and give it everything they had. Okay. And these recovery people were not having it. They're like, we don't want to hear this. We don't care.
Yeah.
I was just on a Coke binge 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they brought me out here. And then you went on there and you were probably supposed to do about 12 minutes. You ended up doing about 25 minutes and you killed for every minute of that 25 minutes. You were that crowd exploded. And they were totally in sync with everything that you were talking about. You were talking about recovery, about the journey, about the process. And they were going through it at that moment.
Yeah.
So it really connected.
Yeah.
And afterwards, people were taking pictures. It was such a big moment. And I'm glad they taped that because some of those viral clips came from that show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it was such
and I want to give some credit to Troy Stud, my man out there.
Yeah.
He's the one that invited me to that show and he was the one that facilitated that. And, all the stars aligned that night.
Yeah.
Sometimes And because I had to fly from Block Island, I was in the midst of Block Island. I never leave Block Island in the summertime. But I knew in my heart that that show was going to be the pinnacle of not only my career, but it was going to be me being able to really talk to the people that I believe need a laugh, and to know that that you can find your way out of that dark hole.
No, that's what it was. No, that's why it was a magical moment, because I've seen you put in the work over the years now, and that was like all of that coming together and finding the right people. And I think that's a really hard part in comedy, like to find your audience.
Yeah.
But that night it was very obvious that this was your audience. These were people going through real things,
Yes.
who are in the midst of
Addiction.
just coming out of addiction. They're really, when you're just coming out of addiction, you're still in the midst of it, really, right?
Well, yeah, and then if you're in and then you get thrown into a sober living situation or whatever. A lot of the sober living situations are all awesome, but they're all as, some of them are a little dysfunctional, you know what I mean? So it's not an easy spot you put in.
That's a weird thing to me, this idea of like, they're trying to take these guys who are in the middle of overcoming addiction out on field trips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To Ha Ha Club.
Like let's go to a comedy show. Like I wonder what some of the other things that they did were, but it was a comedy club. First of all, like none of them are allowed to have alcohol, right? Like they're in the club and they're allowed to get anything they want as long as it's not alcohol.
Yeah, I think when I came up, they had been so probably tensed up about the building that I actually gave them a psychological hit of what they were looking for. So it kind of eased, like it was the end.
Yeah,
that night was really awesome because finally, I knew who my following was at that point. I knew where I laid in this game.
No, there's a lot of people, millions of people who are in recovery who not a lot of people really understand that experience. Like you have to go through it, and nobody understands that experience really that I know of as much as Sean right here, Like you've been through the whole thing. You've managed to stay sober all those years. So an interesting thing seems to happen is that, like you're saying, so people are like reaching out to you now.
And there's a lot of guys who probably will watch this podcast. I'm not going to mention their names. Like there's this one guy who's ever since he saw my clips, he's he drives a truck and he's trying to work on his meth addiction. And and so
that's a tough job. That's a tough job.
So I said, first of all, I'm like, let's stop at the beginning. Let's pull over to the nearest diner. Let's get some food in you. No, meaning I've connected with a lot of people that I've been able to share my story with that has affected them. And now they're kind of examining their own addiction. And some people who have found recovery who, recovery is a program of attraction. Once you get sober, everyone does. It's like everything else. People are attracted to people who are doing the right thing, making progress, changing their lives, getting honest with themselves, all of that stuff.
You can't hide anymore. It's a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
I think we gotta mention something. There's something that Sean told me. And it's stuck in my mind, and it comes up all the time. It's basically something that got passed down to you by your mom, Ruth Mahoney.
Yeah.
And now this is something you live by, but now by relation, I'm living by this too. And it's such a hard thing. It's so simple. It's such a hard thing to live up to. Do you want to share it?
No,
I'll
share
do it. Okay, here it is. This is what Sean shared with me, and I think about this all the time. And I think people in recovery, this is like another one of those things that you got to think about. It's here it is. It's happiness is a byproduct of doing the right thing. There it is. How many times in your life did you hear that, Sean?
Way more than I wanted to at certain times in my life. That because. And we always go, I guess we're sliding into more recovery. Happiness is a byproduct of doing the right thing. Yeah, I would stand by that statement with every dime I have in my bank account, which is a can in the ground.
Yeah, of course it is. That's every former crackhead's bank. a can in the ground.
And some old VCRs.
Yeah, if you don't
they're coming back. Can you imagine all the VCRs? Everyone wants them now.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
and the record players too. Did you ever get in the record player business?
I got into records.
Records.
When I got sober, I started buying every record in town.
No kidding. Yeah, you've always
I had
stayed
over
on top
12,000 records. I've been selling them off piece by piece.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, happiness is a byproduct of doing the right thing. And another thing that I've heard you say a lot is, just one day at a time. That's basically it, right?
Yeah.
If you can live up to those two things. Yeah.
One day at a time. It's like God put someone in front of me the other day. This person is very well off, has been in the business a long time, and like a lot of people that are in the business is struggling with drug addiction. And the funny thing is all the cars and all the fame and all that in the world. And I've seen people come to me who've had all these things and they're just like, all I want is to be fucking happy. I just want to just get through a day without wanting to kill myself. It's almost like those material things are trappings of success that hold you down, and there's some kind of like, you lose who you really are. You got to keep it right size, I think.
You told me something related to that, but basically, and I think a lot of people going through the recovery process, they're always gonna have friends who are not in that space. They're not ready for that, to make that change in their lives. But like you were telling me about this person who's is right at the beginning of his recovery journey, and then he gets a phone call from a friend, and he's like, hey, I got the best blow right here. You got to try this. Call me up.
Yeah, this guy was so fucked up because listen, it was so quintessential Hollywood.
Yeah.
This happened a couple of weeks ago. This happened when I first got into town.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, wow. And he asked me, how do you stay sober? And I was like, hey, this is what I do. And, and I had to let go of people, places, and things. And he's like, that's so funny. He goes, I've had a good friend for years, and he's trying to sell me. He knows I'm trying to stay clean, but he's still trying to sell me an ounce of blow. I'm like, well, that's Hollywood. You know what I mean?
So you got to change that.
You got to change who you hang out with. Listen, there was many nights I hung out with people that I never thought I would hang out with, but hey, I have fun. I make the best of anyone I'm hanging out with. I could be hanging with anybody. We'll make it fun.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You have to be like, hey, I don't need these fucking idiots over here. I can go fucking hang out with 3 homeless guys in a Charleston Chew and have more fun cutting it in 4.
Charleston Chews, it's a weakness.
You ever seen a homeless guy try to eat Charleston Chew? It's a fucking blast.
They got no teeth.
Yeah, no teeth. It's fucking, I join right in. I pull mine out and I get right in there with them.
Oh, man. But yeah, going back to that night and this idea of finding your audience, I think that's such a big thing. Like people who are aspiring comics, people who are trying to do this comedy thing, almost any comic has an audience out there, but it's the struggle is finding it. You just happen, the circumstances, the stars all aligned, and I really think that there's an audience across the whole country, that are waiting to experience what those people experienced at the Ha Ha Club. So what do you got coming up? What are the plans? I know there's a lot going on. What's up ahead?
Oh, well, I listen, I'm very grateful for all the opportunities I got this year. You know what I mean? I got to do a lot of different shows here in LA, more than I've done. At the Ice House, the Crack 'em Up Room, great shows at Big Dogs at the Fourth Wall, which has, led me to working out and busting ass, which has got me to the tour. We're starting the Don't Miss the Boat tour. We got Trent Thomas, Pancho Mola, Sean T. Mahoney, Sam Brillhart, Zachary Burgess, and we're starting in New York on the 14th. We're going to Connecticut, and then we're going to Warwick, Rhode Island, and then we're closing it to Don't Miss the Boat, to get on the Block Island boat and do the show at the National Hotel on the May 17th.
So that's coming up May 7th. That's a big deal. You're really behind this whole thing too. It seems like if you're a comic right now, it's so hard to just get on stage, get real stage time, and it's a catch-22 because you got to be good to get stage time on a regular basis, right? But you can't get good without getting on stage.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole thing.
Yeah.
So for you to start creating your own opportunities, organizing something like this, putting it together, I mean, it's a big deal. Not like, it seems like you almost have to do it that way now.
Yeah. Well, this come naturally to me, organizing stuff too. You know what I mean? I always bite off more than I can chew with a project. And then it forces me as an insurance policy to go into deeper territory where my toes are just touching the fucking pool, and I know I can still breathe, but I'm on the edge of it all. Like I'm doing stuff that needs to be done in comedy.
Yeah.
And in comedy, at some point, you need to go into a club with a group of good comedians and sell 120 tickets. And I think that's the crossroads, and I've managed to do that over the course on Block Island, and now I'm just kind of, testing the waters, taking more chances.
No, and that's really the whole thing. If you're a comic, it's really about selling tickets. Like that's your social. I've seen guys with hundreds of thousands of social media followers, and I've done shows with them where they're the featured person.
Sure.
Not a single person shows up to see this guy with 200,000-300,000 followers. So the whole social media thing is obviously it can help you because it can get you more opportunities, but at the end of the day, if you're not selling tickets, then you're not really doing it, and that's where everyone is trying to get to.
I truly think the only way to get to that point is also, I had to fold as an analog man. They called me analog man because I couldn't have cared less about Instagram. But in order to let people know what's happening, they're not watching Johnny Carson anymore to find out you're coming to their local town. They're watching clips on things. So, and I highly recommend don't half-ass it. If you're going to do comedy, I recommend once you get your act together, start working on your clips and get a good guy, out there to help you with that.
No, you're
so you can, but don't, there's no rush. It took me 3 years before I started doing clips. You know what I mean?
And those clips are doing amazing.
Yeah, but if I would have done clips earlier, the magic I don't think would have happened.
No, and that's like a mistake that I think a lot of people make. Like, they film their first sets and they want to just share it with the world.
Yeah.
And that almost never works out well. Yeah. I mean, it's a different approach for different people. Like one thing that like I do, I really make it a point to put out a new clip a week doing new material. But it's really just a challenge for myself to okay, I'm constantly writing, I'm putting out something new all the time, and then it's just playing the lottery. That's really what it is. That's what I feel like posting clips on Instagram is just like it's a lottery, and you might get lucky, and if you're going in there with the expectation that it's going to lead to things, you're usually going to be disappointed. But in your case, you did connect, and there's something to it because there's a message behind what you're talking about. You're connecting with people, especially in particular, who are going through recovery, who've been through it, who are struggling with it. Some people are still going through addiction. Yeah. I mean, I know, like you said, you've basically kind of become a sponsor, like with people like online.
Well, I can't really say that in AA or Narcotics Anonymous because I have carved my own way of my recovery. It's not for everybody. I like to smoke weed because it works for me. You know what I mean? But it's not written in the halls of AA or the halls of Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah, for some people that doesn't work.
For me I would never try to preach my word except tell my story.
Yeah.
If someone came to me and said, hey, how do you stay off crack and how do you stay off booze and how do you stay off blow and how do you stay off opiates? Hey, I can tell you how I do that. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I think about like I don't know what you're made of, Sean, there's because you've been through all of those things. Like, I'll give you an example, right? For you can smoke weed and it works for you. It's not going to work for everybody.
No.
Like with me, I remember being in my 20s in Berkeley and I was smoking a ton of weed. I was smoking a ton of weed, and it got to the point where
Don't I have one of your VCRs that you
It-
sold for weed?
dude, I was selling everything, Sean. I was selling books. I was selling CDs.
Oh my God.
Dude, just from weed, I was walking around on the streets selling things, like scrounging for money. Just
Wow.
so that tells, like, now I can look back on that and just be like, yeah, if I did anything harder than that, I'd be in big trouble.
Or you wouldn't
know?
be here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
No, and somehow you've done
I don't know.
way beyond that, and you've survived and you've lived to tell the story. And I think there's something about, like, people who've been through addiction. There's a toughness there, you know, like there's a resilience, especially if you come back from that, you know, because these are extremes of human existence, you know.
Yeah.
And when you've been pushed to those levels of extremes and you can come back and find your way back,
I don't think I
know?
don't think just like anybody who's lost in the woods and trying to survive for a week, and all of a sudden your survival instincts will kick in.
Yeah.
And in drug addiction, the same thing. If your willingness to live is more than your willingness to die, then your survival instincts will kick in, and you will continue to live this torturous life of addiction, but you will survive.
Yeah.
Because the amount, the weights and scales, if you want to live more than you want to die.
Yeah.
If I literally wanted to die more than I wanted to live, I would have never found recovery, because I would have given up and really gone. There was always that fine line that I kept, that I wanted to live. I wasn't, you know what I mean?
I mean, I'm sure you've seen it up
Or I
close,
would have blown my head off with
Yeah.
a gun.
because it takes you to
Trust
those-
me. I would have killed myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is
So
it-
I had a willingness to live. And I think, yeah, I had a willingness. You have to have a willingness. You have to start somewhere.
because, like, when you're the depths of despair that you go through when you're going through addiction, withdrawal, just the whole process.
The whole psychological process, the whole process of being shunned by your family, your friends, society. I don't think there's anything worse. I really don't. I mean, that's why it's so important to get in the halls of AA or with addictions, because you can keep coming back fucking up. In comedy, you can't keep coming back. You get canceled or you do shit out on the street. They're going to be like, you can still come back even though you were arrested last night and went to jail. You know what I mean? So that's why I always say that, because in life, that's not happening.
Yeah.
You can't go fucking doing shit. You get canceled in real life. One thing good about AA and in NA, they give you as many chances as you
You can always
as
come
long as you
back.
can make it through the door of AA and sit down in a chair. Hey, you're a survivor that day. You're not in jail, and we're willing to, everyone's willing to, to work with you.
No, I think that's what it is. I think that's what I admire. I mean, this is a weird thing to say. This is what I admire about drug addicts, okay? Is their resilience.
Yeah.
You need to have, like, if you're a drug addict or a former drug addict, like, what you need to have a level of resilience. If you're still sticking around, like you said,
Yeah.
that willingness, because like you've told me about it, like the depths of despair that
Yeah.
come along with that, just being in that world.
Yeah.
There's going to be what you're going to go through. There's a lot of people who don't come back from that,
Yeah.
who
There's different levels. It's like,
Yeah.
it depends on where you are in society. If you grew up in the ghetto and you became a drug addict, you just gave up on everything and was a shameless drug addict on the streets where you either prostituted or whatever. But if you lived in the suburb and you became a crackhead and you did all the things that, you know what I mean? It was a different kind of shame.
Yeah, yeah.
There was levels to the shame where it was almost acceptable for somebody in the hood to be a drug addict, but they would look at you 10 times worse in the suburb because you came from a good family.
it's like, what's your excuse?
What's your, like, you know
Yeah.
what, Pete, this guy's got cancer.
Yeah.
You give yourself cancer every day.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing. As I look back, it was like, there's so many people that have been given misfortunes in life, and I was given everything.
Yeah.
And this is the raw honesty, which hurts, is that I would self-destruct a perfectly healthy person, mind and body, when someone would have died for what I had. But there was something that wanted me. I just wanted to, I don't know, it was, but what wanted to die.
What do you think that void is? Because I think that's like the one thing that it is. It's something that there's a void, there's an emptiness there, and that's where drugs fill that void.
Yeah, but I think that in life's tough, and you either want to fill the void and you accept being a drug addict and you live that medicated life, or you deal with the harsh realities of biting the bullet of life, taking the Joe Louis's punches of life. There's no either in or out. You're either in life and dealing with it sober, and you learn to navigate life sober and maybe master the art of sobriety and dealing with the fucking nonsense of life, which I'm trying to do, or you slide down the water slide of opiates and drugs.
Yeah.
Like, whee!
Yeah, which is fun for a minute. Yeah.
You know that ride's coming to an end. Instead of a pool, you're going to end up in a bag of gravel. You're going to slide into gravel.
Yeah, there's no easy way through this life. That's basically what it is.
So you pay now or pay later.
Yeah.
If you're going to live this life, it's probably best to, with the humans on this life, to deal with them on a sober basis.
No, and for you, like, finding comedy was the thing that it seems like if you're going to live this life sober, if you're going to do it the right way, because that's what it is. That's facing reality as it is. That's what sobriety really is, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's really what it is. But if you're going to do that, and then you got to find strategies. And it's going to be different for everybody. For you, it was a lot of things. It's not just comedy. Comedy you found later. I mean, part of it was having a community. Community is huge, right? You talked about AA and NA and those places always being open to you, no matter how many times you screw up.
Yeah.
But for you, like, it was Block Island, really, right?
Sure.
I mean, it was the people there. It was a community that you had. But it did lead you to get to find comedy. And then I almost feel like for you, look, comedy is almost like the reward, you know? Like,
kind of, yeah. I think Rhode Island, I mean, comedy's definitely been a little reward for me.
Yeah.
But comedy's like everything else. It's like any addiction. I'm still addicted. I wouldn't be sitting here in Santa Monica if I wasn't addicted to comedy. Yeah. I wouldn't have been at the Fourth Wall NoHo yesterday if I wasn't addicted to comedy. I would be, snowboarding or having tea at the Carlisle Hotel.
Yeah, but maybe it's just something the way your mind works that it's going to be obsessive. It's going to be like...
Yeah, but it's the obsessiveness is the same thing, and I'll go back to it, is when I did the last show at the Ice House, and I got that fix, I was like, it's a drug. I want more. And for me to lie and say that's not what's happening, no, that's what's happening.
Well,
I love the hit of a laugh. Yeah. I love engaging with people. I love getting a reaction of quality out of them. I love it.
Yeah, there's something to that. I mean, it's probably activating the same parts of your brain, you know. Yeah. But it's not an outside foreign stimulus. It's you're creating that yourself for yourself. You know. I don't know. So go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. We're going to switch it up. I want to talk about Mr. Mark Kraus.
Oh.
And he's been a lot of talk about Sean Mahoney. Let's get down to the pride of the fourth wall who's knocking him dead out there. So I want to hear from you, and I saw you at a few shows. So let's hear about what's happening with you, because this is not only we want to talk about sobriety on the Rhode Island Red podcast. This is a comedy podcast, and we're kind of going through the journey of our community and the LA scene and the Block Island scene. So tell us, Mark.
I mean, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, man. Like, it was beautiful seeing you find and connect with that audience. It was I was in the crowd, and it was such a magical thing. And everybody I was with, your community, your fourth wall community was there. And we were all on the same page. We're like, and Sean's doing it, I haven't had one of those moments.
No, we've seen some quality moments.
No, like, dude, like I've been like really the.
Listen, let me get this straight. Mark's been doing the Ice House. You've done the Comedy Store.
I still haven't done the comedy store.
How about the Laugh Factory?
Haven't done the Laugh Factory.
Okay,
or
Flappers.
the Improv.
You've taken Flappers, right?
Not even the main stage, Sean. I've only been in the.
All right,
room.
listen.
I'm at the lowest.
Like me getting kicked out of Denny's and back to the NoHo Dino. We're gonna go right to you've conquered the chateau.
So I haven't been back at the chateau in a long time. You don't understand. The lowest levels of comedy. That's where I operate.
I think Mark's problem is he went south with Karen Haber somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And she put the kibosh on him.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, like we love Karen.
Oh,
you know
Karen,
what I mean?
we love you. We need you to really lift the. You know what I mean? I'm vouching for Mark on camera right now.
Oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting this to go here, but no, it's funny because Karen. So Karen, she's an older comic now, you know, but in her heyday, she was on the Joan Rivers show. Sure. She was a regular at the Comedy Store. I mean, she's got a real career, and to her credit, she left it. Imagine being a successful female comic. And she left that behind to raise her kids, and then now she's kind of coming back, and she's done shows at the Comedy Store, and she does anyway. Long story short, once in a while we run into each other, we do some mics, and inevitably I offend her, you know, like she doesn't heckle anybody, but she's somehow this lady she finds no. It's rare that I'm sitting at a mic and I hear someone say like that's dumb, you know.
I think this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because Mark's career, if you've seen him on stage, he is hilarious. But the way he made it, he's not like there's some people like me. I'm like, I'm more of a people person. Mark, he's like a no nonsense type kind of guy. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But my point being is that with Karen Haber, you could tell she loves you. Yeah. She wouldn't heckle you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know that.
You know, and so give yourself like I've watched Mark murder, and I think Mark's a perfect example of somebody who has chosen to be an artist, who has gone to his family and said, I want to be an artist. And let me tell you, comedy has been known to break up a few families sober. Okay? You don't need to be whacked out on cocaine for comedy to break up your family. So my point being is that in order to be a good comedian, and to your credit, you know what I mean? I'm watching Mark, and he speaks about it on stage, so I'm not speaking out of school. I have watched him talk about how he's navigating his life through comedy, and he's learning how to be a better father. And in actuality, comedy might have been the thing that turned your life around for your marriage. It might have been the thing that woke you up to maybe your character defects.
Yeah, no, Sean, I wasn't expecting this. And no, like, thank you. You said it very eloquently, like, and it's true. Like, when I've actually thought about it, and look, I know you're all here for Sean. Okay, all right. I'm very aware why you're here. We'll get back to Sean. All right, dude, I like never read the comments on YouTube, okay? Like, I'm not kidding. Somebody said this to say, well, someone like tell Mark to shut up already. It was to that effect. I'm just interviewing Sean. It's like, shut the hell up and let Sean speak. He's speaking the whole time. All right? Why can't I have a moment? We all love Sean. I know you're here for Sean.
Say it. What about me?
What about me? What about? Look, whenever the clips that we put out have done well, I know people are like following you based on that. No one follows me. Nothing. Anyway, we're gonna talk, but no, to your point. All right, to your point, and this is true. Like, yeah, like, the truth is, look, I got into comedy very late. We both did. You know, we found this late. I had no like thought ever of doing comedy. Look, I'm just gonna say I'm 41 now. Okay, I started comedy at 38. I've been in about 3.5 years. That's it, and that's
not a long time.
Yeah, not a long time, but also not a very like that's an unusual time to start. Sure. You know, and not only that, I have 2 kids. Right now I got a 9-year-old.
I want to say this.
Yeah.
I want to say that that's the credit I'm giving you.
Yeah.
Everyone realized that I lived the life of Riley.
Yeah.
Mark Kraus does not. He lives he's got a wonderful family. But what I'm so impressed about him is that no matter how hard that he has to fit it in, he crosses town in the middle of a hot afternoon just to make a one mic at NoHo.
Yeah.
And that's all he can do. He can't hang around with me, and sometimes maybe I get a little more traction. That's because I've had the luxury of being able to work out and to press the flesh with other producers more than other people have. So I urge producers, just because you don't see them all the time, you should definitely still ask them to be on your show. This is my shameless plug for Mark Kraus.
Oh, thank you, Sean. You don't know how desperately I needed that.
I knew it.
Yeah, we didn't set this up, by the way. He surprised me with this. That was not a setup.
Hey, listen, guys, it's the kind of guy I am. Can I give a little?
It really is the kind of guy Sean is. Like, Sean, no, thank you, Sean. I really appreciate that. But yeah, and this is the last I'll say of it, and we'll get back to everything.
And I hope I didn't overstep my boundaries.
No, not at all. And it's true. Like I do want to, there is something you said that's true. Like, it's unusual for someone like kind of in my stage of life. I mean, I had a family, job, everything, young kids when I started. I mean, this was like 3.5 years ago. My kids are 9 and 8 now. So then they were, 6 and 5. And that's just a crazy time to start comedy, like,
sure.
And to be present for your family. And to your point, like, what it's done is comedy takes you through ups and downs. Like, you go through the most extreme emotions. And I do think that for you, everything you've been through with addiction and recovery and everything, in a weird way, it's prepped you to like be able to handle those things head on, to face those things. If you're going to do this in a serious way, you're going to go through those emotions. You got to accept that. And I think maybe a lot of comics sometimes, they fall into addiction actually,
sure.
because those extremes are so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself out there in a way that's incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah. And listen, drugs, drugs has taken a few comics this year.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Just because you're a comic doesn't mean you won't die if you snort the wrong blow.
No,
or if you know what I mean? I would hate to be to be doing coke today. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, and it's tragic because you see these young people and they're going through those emotional ups and downs of what this is, and they're trying to get somewhere, and I can understand how they would fall into that.
Sure,
right?
I would. As again we say, substitute your addiction. Get your $5 ready and head on down the fourth wall. Substitute that shit. You know what I mean? $5 is a small price to pay to start changing your life. Trust me. And if that's just one way, or you can go other routes. I suggest if you thinking you're funny, try comedy.
Yeah, I think there's a million different ways to do it. It's different for everybody. And like, to say this, it's kind of like, what's going to make you see yourself honestly in the most honest way possible? Like, what's going to force you to look at yourself honestly? And I think for you and me, it's been comedy. Like, and that's where, like, for me, not expecting to become a comic, never had any ideas about that, whatever. But going through this process with a family and all that, it's forced me to look at myself very honestly, and that'll, if you do it the right way, it'll force you to become a better person,
So, I mean, that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as a growing comedian, because if you want to be a comedian and you have a family, Mark Kraus is definitely somebody to if he can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, it can be rough. But
look at his face.
Yeah,
dude. Sometimes it looks like the world drained out of him.
Yeah, no, totally.
No, but sometimes it's got cookies and stuff from the
Well, those are my cookies.
Oh, that's right. He falls asleep with them on his.
No, but I think it could be whatever for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
If mountain climbing forces you to like look at yourself honestly and confront yourself, your humanity, and what you're willing to do, and challenges you to be honest with, then mountain climbing is probably your thing. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it can be anything, whatever it is. But I think everyone maybe needs to find that thing, whatever. You know.
Mountain climbing isn't my thing. I'm kind of like the dead guy you see on Mount Everest. You know that guy, dead guy, the frozen guy.
Yeah, you got the
I'm living an afterlife crisis. You know what I mean? They just slide me down the mountain. That's when you're listen.
Yeah.
When you brought this up, the mountain.
Yeah,
I really think if you are living an afterlife crisis, it'd be good to just be frozen up on Mount Everest and.
because they could unfreeze you at some point.
At some point, you may get lucky.
Yeah. Do you think anybody goes up to Mount Everest just with that thought that, look, if I freeze to death up there, maybe in 200 years, who knows?
I think guys are going up there to die. They're just like, I'm going to I'm going to climb Mount Everest.
It'd be funny if they unfroze someone on Everest and he's like, did I make it?
Yeah.
200 years later. No, you didn't, buddy. Kind of.
You could use a dentist, though.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? Like, but it's weird because I do think of like I never really understood mountain climbing. I mean, I know this is a little bit like off topic, but like now we're on mountain climbing. I didn't really get it. You know, like there's documentaries about people, why they do it. You know, there's really no reason they need to climb a mountain.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I think it's a, you know what I mean? It reminds me of doing blow around a table in the middle of the night. Right?
Anything
and everyone's like,
white.
everyone, I've seen white guys circling a table and go,
Yeah.
I'm climbing Mount Everest next week. They're like, do you have equipment? No, you start, next thing you know, everyone around the table is going to fucking climb Mount Everest because you around a pile of cocaine have made these grandiose ideas.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, next week, you're keeping up with the Joneses. 3 of them have bought equipment.
Yeah.
Some of them have oxygen tanks. Listen. None of these guys are going to survive, and that's why cocaine and mountain climbing don't mix, because when you get high on cocaine, you really think you can go climb a mountain, and that's when you'll be one of those dead guys up on Mount Everest, and everyone will look at you going, and you'll have that one eye going like this, and you'll be like, I did so much coke, I thought I could climb Mount Everest.
What's the percentage of people who climb Mount Everest?
That's a good question.
That are coked out.
I don't get it. Why would you want to climb Mount Everest? Why don't you just take a hit of PCP? You'd be fucking up there fucking all day. You don't even have to walk.
No, you know, but what I was thinking about in terms of mountain climbers, like serious mountain climbers, like the ones who challenge themselves to do it, and like there's a couple of documentaries out there, whatever, that kind of follow their journey. And now I kind of get it. It's not really about climbing the mountain. That's the thing. It's about facing yourself honestly and pushing yourself and seeing what you're capable of. You know what I mean? And overcoming those barriers,
adversities,
and all that kind of stuff. So that's the part that I started to understand. But that's essentially what comedy is for me. Like honestly, and I'm fortunate that personal development of doing that lines up with the ups and downs and the challenges that come with doing comedy.
I think comedy has got to be literally the most unrewarding.
Oh yeah.
Unrewarding career all around. No pay, worse pay until you hit.
Yeah.
No love. The only real good thing is community. And you know what I mean?
And
there's a lot of people who sneak into the comedy. They get into comedy like, you never know those guys who go to AA, but they never drank, but they just fucking show up at the meetings.
I don't know, man.
Well,
I'm sure
there's these guys, you know what I mean? They got no life. They show up, and there's these kind of people that show up at the open mics too. You know what I mean? There's like, you know, they never want a comedy, but they seem to find a cool group of people.
Yeah.
And if they pay
I think it's interesting what you're saying, Sean, because the community part, that doesn't exist everywhere.
Yeah, so the community in LA, I would say, is definitely, you know, and Austin was cool. You know, I got to go to Austin this year. Thanks to Danny Mullen. I did a great set with him at the Vulcan. And I got to check out the Austin scene, and it was, you know what I mean, little younger. What I saw, a lot of younger people, but Austin was cool.
Yeah,
you know,
I could see you really hitting in Austin, and I think it makes a lot of sense for you to go back down there when you get an opportunity.
Yeah, I'll go back for sure. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Met a bunch of great people down there.
Maybe that's what it is. Like with anything, it's always community. Like, like it seems like with addiction recovery and stuff like that, anything. What's really solving society's ills, like for the most part, a big part of that is creating community. Like whatever that is in whatever situation, if you got a community, then you're already a step. You're doing well. You know.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the biggest thing, of the unrewarding part, is that your community people will be honest with you. I would say 75% will be honest with you. The other 25, the other will blow smoke up your ass. But for the most part, you'll get the real deal from people. And if they like you, they'll help you with your jokes. If you show up to the writers' mics at the Fourth Wall, and they got the new 15-minute mic in the morning, which is great, at the 10 a.m., I think, like anything else, even younger people will see the work. If there's a young producer who's running a great show, even young producers are going to know who's doing the work. It's a work ethic business. I think work ethic, having a good personality, try not to have any problems with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Try to be a very, good to be around and nice to fun to be around. You know what I mean? And if you're not fun to be around, learn how to act.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, though, like this idea of community in LA, and this, it's really, for you, it's been at the Fourth Wall. Like, that's where you found community. And that's sort of what's so interesting about that is because the Fourth Wall in particular has a reputation that, maybe it's edgy or whatever it is. But the truth is, like, where I've also found the most actual community, like when I'm struggling, where people actually ask how I'm doing, and you could tell they mean it. Yeah. It's been there, and it's an interesting thing.
They used to say, Sean, don't go to the Prairie Ave crack house.
Yeah.
It's bad over there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll fucking tell you when it's bad over there. I'll go over there and fucking size the joint up. I spent a couple days over there. It wasn't that bad.
Tell me about the Prairie View?
Prairie Ave.
Prairie Ave, crack.
Meaning what I'm trying to say is that don't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself. Show up and see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyone who listens to anybody about going anywhere is kind of like, even to a restaurant. You just go figure it out for yourself and make your own determinations.
Yeah. Yeah, don't take people's words for it.
Yeah. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's always best to go and find out the vibe for yourself. And I like hanging around where there's a lot of fun and good vibes. So, and I'm at Fourth Wall. So that 2 and 2, 1 and 1 plus, equals 2.
Yeah, no, that's it right there. Man, all right. Listen, Sean, we got to give the people what they want.
All right, what do you want?
The stories, Sean. Yeah, and here's the thing about Sean is that Sean has... I've known Sean for a couple of years now, and I've heard a lot of stories, and it's rare that they repeat. It's kind of amazing. I don't know do all former crackheads have memories as incredible as yours? Know. Yeah.
I don't know. But a lot of my stories happened after and before crack too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like a lot of my character stories are people I know, or I get thousands of stories.
All right, I mean,
some while I was using, some while I was sober.
Yeah.
Some while I was rich, some while I was poor.
All right, Aaron Hernandez, let's hear it. Let's hear it. No, the people want the truth.
Oh my God!
Right, this is what it was all leading to, Sean.
Oh my God!
They want to know what was up with. So, I mean, how far is where the Patriots are from?
Well, Gillette Stadium is literally 40 minutes from Providence. Okay. So Providence. They fly out of Rhode Island. Their plane is kept in Rhode Island, and a lot of New England people live in Rhode Island, and they come to Providence for restaurants. And it wasn't the first New England players I had at my place. Aaron, first of all, he had a heart of gold. He was a customer of mine. He used to come in every Saturday night, mostly every Saturday night, and he would sit in a certain section. I'm not going to say who he came in with because, you know what I mean? They're still some of them are still alive.
Okay, yeah.
And Aaron Hernandez story. So I'm not a starstruck guy. When you own a place, you can't be starstruck. You're glad to have him, but you can't let him rule the place. And he was always so respectful and tipped unbelievable. He always left like $300 tip. My waitresses loved him. And one night, he knew who I was. He didn't know how deep I was at the moment. And he said to me, hey, He said, you want some weed? I know you love your weed. He goes, I got some weed for you. He goes, I got 100 pounds. I looked at him. I'm like, at this time, he was the number one player. You know, he used to hang out at a place called 54 South Street, too. He used to leave my place and go to this place, 54 South Street. And let's just say the play, you know, that's where the players are, at 54 South Street. And I looked at him, and I'm like, Aaron, I'm like, I don't need 100 pounds, but why would, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I'll just give it to you, give me, you know what I mean? Well, and I'm like, I don't want to, I'm not dealing weed. But I said to him, I said, Aaron, why in God's name would you be dealing weed? And I was literally in shock that the guy was dealing weed. And the whole death situation was because his brother-in-law was fronting weed from him. You know what I mean? So I looked at him and said, Aaron, I just was trying to say, you're in a position where I have no idea why you'd be dealing weed. You know what I mean?
Ask him?
Yeah, and he said, it's, you know, he just looked at me like, you know, don't think I'm never going to deal weed again. Like, he just looked at me like, why would you think I don't deal weed? I'm like, well, you're a fucking superstar and gets paid millions of dollars. Why would you need to deal weed?
So football was his side hustle.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's my Aaron Hernandez story.
Like he
And Aaron was a good guy.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get in business with me. He wanted to, he was like, oh, we can do this. He was one of those guys, whatever you need. Sean, he would say to me every time, Sean, you know, whatever you need. Thank God I didn't take any weed from him and didn't pay him on time. I would have been the guy in the fucking parking lot. See, there's guys you don't want to get involved with, and it could be the famous guy you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever met anyone?
I always learn don't accept, you know what I mean? Don't jump in it just because someone's offering you a lot of money or, you know what I mean?
You don't know what you're gonna get into.
Nothing's like that.
Man, I don't know if I've ever heard of anyone so passionate about dealing weed. You know, to be a superstar.
I literally
NFL
was
player.
in shock that he said that.
Oh
you know?
my God!
But and I tried to give him the best advice I could.
Yeah,
it went in one ear and out the other.
I wonder when he signed his contract, he was just like, you know how much weed this can buy me? Hundreds of pounds of weed. Just everything was measured by. But I don't know. I mean, what, like, dude? So Elizabeth's like, how often were you like bumping into people like these kinds of this level of character?
During the years in the 80s, the 90s, you know, a lot. You know, a lot of celebrities came in.
Yeah, I mean,
but we had a lot of great people in Providence, and we had a great loyal clientele.
I mean, so what was it like when you had to close it up, and what did it feel like? You know,
it felt like a divorce that had to take place. It was finally, you know what I mean. I was going through some legal things with them, and everything worked out in my favor, and it just was time. It was time that I moved on. It was time that I tried something different, and I was married, and you know, and did other things, and you know, kept proving to myself I was capable of starting businesses and continue to be an entrepreneur. When I closed the door of Elizabeth, Buddy Cianci was long gone. All the power that I wielded over the years was long gone. Meaning, I was going out on the road like a pioneer after having it all and going out west to see if I could make it on my own.
And you went to Denver.
I went to Denver, yeah.
And is that when you started like your own business? And you
we talked about that.
But let me ask you this, because I know there was a period you went into Denver, and this is the kind of thing that comes up with Sean, where it's just like, what, like, where did that even? The Farrelly brothers, right? Because they're from Rhode Island.
Yes.
But you met them in Denver,
Breckenridge, Colorado.
What was that? Like, what
Breckenridge, Colorado, 1994.
What were they filming? Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber. Didn't I tell this story?
No. Like, we've talked about it once briefly. I'm just like driving in the car, and I remember you mentioned something like that. Like,
so I got the great. After I was captured by a net in Providence.
Who captured you?
A couple of guys.
Yeah. Who sent
they
them?
Literally, dude.
Yeah.
My brother had hired these guys because I was on a fucking tear. and they couldn't fucking nail me down. I was staying at hotels, friends' houses, and
were you actively like?
I was actively smoking crack and getting high and fucking acting up and just being out of my mind. And I'll never forget it. I came out of a convenience store. I had to buy lighters, and I had a fucking bunch of shit, and I was going back to my friend's apartment, and I come out of the store. I see these two guys, and I swear to God, have you ever seen those fucking big fishing nets? They're huge.
Yeah,
the New England fishing nets for like halibut and shit.
I think
I see these two fucking guys, and I know one of them's my brother's fucking friend, and and he's got this fucking net. He's got a net in his hand. And I'm like, what the fuck's this guy doing? I'm like, what's John doing in this parking lot? And they're like, hey, Sean. And they're walking at me with this net, and I'm like. And the closer they got to me, I realized, oh, they're going to capture me. They're going to net me. So I tried to run, and I said, that's stupid. And they made a big joke out of it.
Yeah.
And they were told to scoop you up.
Yeah.
And John had this in his garage. We figured we'd get, and they literally walked me back to the car.
And they had you in the net.
In the net.
Yeah.
And they put me in the car, and in the car was my bag of my clothes, minimal amount of shit in a bag when you could get on a plane with a trash bag, no ID,
oh my God.
Right, loaded.
Yeah.
And those guys brought me right to the airport, which they told me I had to get out of town one more time. I was thrown out of Rhode Island. Thrown out.
That's who they sent to toss you out
the
of
mafia.
Rhode Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Why? What was
because no one else could control me.
Oh.
Anyone else, I would have just fucking. But there was a power source there that I wouldn't fuck with.
Yeah.
When two guys that are made guys take you to the airport, and they pick you up and they put you in a net, it's serious.
Yeah.
You know the party's over. You're like, oh, I guess the party's over. And I'm like, where am I going? They're like, Colorado. I'm like, all right. So they're like, and these guys are like, right out of a movie. I'd be in the back seat, and they'll be like, there'll be enough snow for you out there in Colorado. You want some snow? Yeah, we're going to send you where there's a lot of snow.
Oh, my God.
And so I got there, and I got this job running the bar at the Breckenridge Barbecue. We took over this Wendy's and flipped it out into a barbecue, and I was working a lunch shift. And these two guys came into the lunch shift. And they were talking about a movie, and I heard the name Jim Carrey, and I had given them their drinks and their menus, and once they mentioned Jim Carrey, at that point, if anyone's seen my act, I do a really good Jim Carrey imitation. And at that point, they mentioned movie, that they were doing a movie in town, and the Jim Carrey. They were going to see Jim, and I overheard it, and I was the bot. They were the only two people at my bar. It was 11:30 in the morning in this barbecue. And I turned around, I said, hey, are you guys doing a movie here? And they said to me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. And they both looked at themselves like, that's kind of odd. And they kind of had a grin on their face, and they said, what's your name? I said, my name's Sean Mahoney. My mom owns Elizabeth's. And they were like, holy shit. They knew my mom's place. They're from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, the brothers. And they looked at me and was like, and at that point, once I knew they were doing the movie, we kind of had an exchange. I kept back in the day, I had headshots, and I kept them under the register just in case I met someone famous. And I fucking did the old spin the old headshot right down, like on purpose. I did the old on the bar, and it landed right next to Bobby Farley. Right. And he went, and they were like kind of thrown back. And I started, and I did the Jim Carrey imitation for them. So all of this came together as they were having lunch, and they were like, hey, do you want to be a consultant on the movie? We're doing this movie with Jim Carrey. And, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to be. Absolutely. So I went downstairs to Don Rode. This guy, Don Rode, was the manager. And they said, it's like, I said, Don, these guys want me to be in this movie with Jim Carrey. And I said, can I get the 2 weeks off? They want me to take 2 weeks off. And he tells the guys, he says, because I was a pain in the ass to my boss all the time. He said, Mahoney, I ain't got time for this today. He said, go tell him, bring Jim Carrey down here. I'll give you all the time off you want. You can do whatever movie you want, because he didn't think it was real.
Yeah.
So I went upstairs and cut the deal with them, and they walked me back to the Marriott, where they introduced me to Jim Carrey, gave me the job, and said I was going to be a featured extra and his consultant on the film, because I was from Rhode Island, and I was literally... And at the time, I literally had a chipped tooth. It was fucked up.
Yeah.
My right tooth was chipped.
Just like him in the movie, right? Yeah.
Literally, which was ironic.
Yeah.
I thought was very ironic. And that tooth was actually a little gray. I remember that. And so they were like, yeah, we want to know your mannerisms and stuff. And they hired me, and I got to spend 2 weeks with Jim Carrey. It was fucking great.
The part that I had a question about it was like what was the consulting for, right?
Oh, and if they did a scene, there's a couple of scenes where there's one scene where Jim Carrey bumps into, and it's in Breckenridge, Colorado, and they would do these scenes, and they would have me do the scene before, and they'd say, well, how would you act in this situation?
Yeah.
But be yourself. So I would be myself, and I'd be like, from Rhode Island, I'd be like, and I'd do it, and they'd be like, all right, do it just like that.
The reason why that's hilarious to me is because they were like,
I didn't know at the time how cool it was going to be in the story.
But also that the movie was Dumb and Dumber, right? So they were trying to get Jim Carrey to be...
And it was from Providence. The whole ironic thing was is they had found the only guy from Providence, Rhode Island, who fit the Jim Carrey character, and I happened to be there.
Yeah.
It was like... just good timing and all of that kind of stuff. It's just like anything that's happened in my life with cool stories. I don't know, just good timing.
Yeah. They were just like, we need a guy who...
Oh, when I did the Jim Carrey film, I killed him. Yeah. I did their whole order as Fire Marshal Bill. And they were like dying.
Yeah.
And then they were like, they called Jim from the bar. And they at this hotel, and they were like, we're bringing this fucking kid up to meet you.
No kidding.
It was cool. It was wicked cool.
So we found the guy who will make you look dumber. That's
hey, and that is on my resume. Consultant on a movie called Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. So I mean, I got no chance.
Though. No.
I got a lot of chance in hell.
Yeah. It's like,
you know what I mean?
Hey Jim, you're not looking
but the
dumb
cool
enough.
Thing is those guys kind of there was, Lloyd and I had a lot in common.
Yeah,
we did have a lot of fucking common. I'm telling you.
That's what
you think
about.
I'm stupid? I'm telling you. Yeah. Lloyd fell into a fucking pile of cash. Everything that Lloyd was going through, I literally was going through in real life.
No, that's something. What's interesting to me? Look, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Which is true.
Yeah, I'm so just like
kooky.
They were like. Yeah, like, Jim, you're not doing it dumb enough. We brought in this guy.
Oh yeah, wait till you see this dumb bastard. Wait till you see. Hey, we got
this. We want to
tell you. He's right from the streets of Providence. He wears a CCM helmet. This fucking kid is dumb. We got to take the helmet off during takes. Hey, the funny thing about when I was a kid, they used to fucking sometime in 1974. Yeah. I don't know, CCM, the helmet people for hockey.
The hockey helmets.
Got into the fucking special ed business. They sold more fucking hockey helmets in 74 in fucking public schools. Every kid in town was running around with a CCM helmet on. I'm like, why are you wearing a helmet? And they're like, oh, they gave me pills and a helmet. Great. 1974, when you were just being a kid, they're like, get him his helmet and get him some speed. Because he's going to be whacking his head all over once he gets addicted to the speed. I mean, kids, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
Hold on. And then you might as well give them hockey sticks. I mean, I imagine the deal of CCM when they made the deal with the school department of the federal fucking government. Yeah. The federal government must have given them a $2 million contract. Get us all the helmets you can get.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's where they made the real money with the special needs department in schools in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
And they don't wear helmets now.
It was a scam.
They never needed the helmets.
You know how many helmets are in fucking garages all over Rhode Island right now? Every garage has got a 1974 CCM helmet in it. You know what I mean? There's no skates, just the fucking helmet.
So
and then there's a story. Everyone has a garage sale, and then there's always some grandmother who's like, yeah, they used to make Jimmy wear that helmet.
Yeah. Like your kid, he has Down syndrome. Like you're gonna need to buy him a helmet.
I'm telling you, they wanted you to be like in the 70s. For some reason, the school department was like, we don't like what's going on here. Yeah. We've got to change it. Some good speed and some helmets will do. Yeah. I mean, really, that's insane.
You know what's interesting though? Like going back real quick for the Jim Carrey, the Dumb and Dumber consultant thing. No, I can see like in that movie, his mannerisms, the way he moved and things like that, I actually can see it.
I was always like when Ace Ventura came out, thank God I knew about Ace Ventura and Fire Marshal Bill. So I was early on, like, you know, Jim Carrey has done such a wide body of work from early on, you know, from In Living Color. That's where his career started. And it's funny how the colored folk gave him a break.
Yeah. You
know what I mean?
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's true. The colored folk, and thanks to all the colored folk out there. You guys, you know what I mean? Thanks for accepting me as white and as transparent and ghostly as I am.
But no, it's interesting that it's like art imitating. Like, so basically,
a lot of art imitating life on Dumb and Dumber.
Like you saw Jim Carrey, and then you kind of you knew you could do the Jim Carrey, but they saw you doing Jim Carrey, and they saw something that you could give him to be more Jim Carrey. You know?
And I was drinking at the time.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the difference between Sean Mahoney now and Sean Mahoney then. When the second day on set, when I was working with Jim, my ego was so big that I went back to the bar and was talking so much crap. I was drinking. And I can look at myself now. I can like look over my head and see what an asshole. Yeah. Meaning, all you did was give me 2 days of some fucking fame and I was fucking off and running.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
Yeah.
I was off the crack and on the fame, stronger than ever. Meaning, my ego was like, and in my head, I was going to be the next fucking, that's how bad my ego was.
2 days in.
2 days in, I thought, who needs Jim Carrey when you have Sean Mahoney?
You were talking to the Farrelly brothers? Like, dude, I mean, come on. Like, I'm the guy. I'm the guy.
And you could know that's where the essence of sobriety and the essence of being completely unhinged a little bit, those kind of people see that. Yeah. You know?
No, and to your point,
they let me get away with it, like, because I was, you know, but it just brought that up. My ego was like, I really thought in my head, but drinking was helping, that I was going to be some fucking the next Jim Carrey.
In that moment.
I might have, you know, I had a chance. The only way I would have ever had a chance at being successful as an entertainer is if I got sober. Yeah. And that's where I'm at now. So this is the, you know, what you're seeing is like, it's going to maybe get a little better, but it's, you know what I mean? This is like the, you know what I mean? This is like, I'm in the throes of it.
And to your point, like at that time, there's no way you would have been able to handle that, you know? Like,
no.
Yeah, it would have.
I couldn't handle money.
Yeah.
There came a point where like money it was just about drink, the next bump or the next hit or the next girl or the next, I didn't give a fuck. And to this day, I don't handle money. I handle money well, but I mean, I could handle it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's almost like
I don't like the responsibility of handling money. And I know that sounds very celebrity of me, but it just upsets me.
Yeah. But you got a team. You got it. It seems like you're smart enough to put the right people around you.
A lot of people care about me. You know, I have Norman and Kimberly, who are my biggest supporters on Block Island, and my family. I got my brother Danielle and the Bates family, and I've got all my friends and Wendy, and I got all you guys out there, and all who know me and accept me for who I am, and kind of like they've come on board the boat.
Yeah.
They're like, we're on the boat with you, Sean.
Yeah.
We're going to grab an oar.
How long
know what
did
I
it
mean?
take? How long did that take to get them all to get on the boat with you?
A couple of years,
Yeah.
once they saw me doing comedy every day on the main street.
Yeah.
Like some days there'd be 40 people in front of me and they weren't going to do anything else but see this guy on a small stage.
So do you think in like the last year, as things have kind of like picked up for you, they're even more than ever, like, you know what, Sean, we see your vision, we see what you're trying to do, and we're with you on
like
this.
let's go, I've just started working with Rain Jameson.
Yeah.
Someone who's he's definitely a young producer here, an actor who's going into comedy. Working with him, working with Trent and Poncho. These guys are great to work with on the road.
Yeah.
They've come out to Block Island, and the little team I've got I've got some good people, the Sean and Joe Leone, a couple of twins that are helping me out in New York, and against my own wishes, things could happen when you don't even, you know what I mean?
And you got the streaming thing coming up. Tell us
Yeah, we're going to be
about
doing streaming on Block Island this summer, and with Zachary Burgess, who's Pleb Kool-Aid online. You can check him out. We're going to be doing some streaming so everyone can see Block Island, so everyone can spend a day with me. We're going to have Saturdays. Yeah. What did you suggest?
Oh, yeah, Sober Saturdays with Sean
Sober
T.
Saturdays.
Mahoney. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be sober.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it sober.
Yeah, no, I mean, and people can, like, because it's a streaming platform, what's it called again?
It's called Sean T. Mahoney Live.
Yeah.
On Kick.
On Kick, yeah. So people will be able to go in there and interact.
Oh,
and
yeah,
ask
this summer,
questions.
you guys come and join us. We're going to be doing some day trips on the Block Island, and I'm going to show you all around Rhode Island live. And we're going to bring in Tommy Mahoney and some guests, some real, authentic characters from Block Island and Rhode Island. It is the Rhode Island Red. I am the, you know what I mean? The Rhode Island Red podcast is kind of multifaceted. It's about a guy from Rhode Island, and that's me.
Yeah,
and obviously, it's about comedy. It's about recovery. It's about anything you guys get out of this. If you get something out of this, you know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? It's not, remember, life is not easy. And if I were to speak to you as in TV land, you know what I mean? We all get the same deck of hand. It's just how you're playing it. Some of us played it with drugs and, because we had a couple of aces in our hole. Some people are going for a straight. Some people have got 3 kings to come out with. Those are the people that have trust funds. You know what I mean? But don't ever think a 3 king isn't going to win a full boat. So it's a matter of how you, if anything, my survival, I don't know how to live. I know how to survive. And if my survival tools can help you in comedy, the number one thing, and staying away from drugs, and at least having a good time and be entertained, I hope we entertain you. You know what I mean? That's the goal.
Now, I'm excited for you to start that streaming platform and get that going, because I think there are a lot of people that, that want to interact with you, that want to, like, in real time ask these questions and get advice. And I know you do that as a matter of course. So I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
All right. Anyway, so I think that's the end of this episode. We'll be back. We'll be back with the next one. All right.
Thanks, guys. We love you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. First time I ever said that. Hope it went well.